Most people have used feminism in some way. Did you meet your wife at 18? Now you met her at 28. Recently, I was in a conversation with a right-wing e-girl. It'll come out this week. And it was all in good fun, and none of this is meant to attack any of you ladies personally, okay? I know it feels that way. But I am like autistic. Don't take it personal. It's me. I'm the problem. I'm basically this autistic level woman. And when I see things that aren't accurate, I just have to be like, wait. So I'm talking to this woman. And I just noticed how every right-wing e-girl I have on the show has to virtue signal for 20 minutes. They have to let me know how they are different. They are special. They're not like the others. And I thought to myself, is this what men feel like on dates? This has to be the most annoying thing ever when you're dating a woman and she has to prove to you that she's not a whore. Because me personally, I'm really not going to look into it too deeply until you start signaling purity. And I think the men are kind of that way too. Like if a woman's doing a good job and she just shuts up, men aren't really going to look into it to make sure you're not a whore. Yeah, and what you get, now that some of the people in the chat are saying, Pearl, you're coping. Not all women are whores. You're a big coper. Well, to that I say, well, if your wife's not a whore for you, I got bad news for you fellas. I got bad news. So, anyways, these women, and I realize every single right-wing e-girl has to run cover for her reputation. Like, I was watching this one right-wing e-girl, and I just, I think because I'm in the space, it's just a different breed. And this woman spends like 20 minutes of this video saying, I'm on the internet, but I'm only on the internet because the other women are on the internet. Shut up. Just be on the internet. Just be here. Take the hit. I take a lot of hit to my reputation in some way because I'm on the internet. I do. Just eat it. Just eat it. You're less desirable to men. It is what it is because you're super online. It is what it, just eat it. And another right-wing e-girl, divorced, right? And every time this right-wing, she came on the show the other day and it's 20 minutes. Well, my divorce was different. Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! And I catch myself doing it at times too. I'm not claiming to be perfect, but I just needed to rant for like an hour about how annoying this is. I just needed to talk about it because God, it's the most annoying thing ever. And I just wanted to know from the men, when you're on dates, is this what it feels like? And I see this everywhere. Once you see virtue signaling, you just can't unsee it. So a virtue signal, I got the definition. Publicly expresses opinions or sentiment intended to demonstrate one's good character or social conscience or moral correctness of one's position on a particular issue. So this is what the Tradcon, the right, the conservative sphere always does. They grift their religion. They're like, I am awesome, but here's my cross in the background. I'm a good person. I swear. I'm great. I'm looking at Twitter today. And, sometimes the virtue signaling is just too much for me. I'm like, I get it. You're a great person. We suck. But and a lot of times it gives you a weird feeling, right? Here we go.
Big sister to me.
So Brett Cooper made a video dedicated to talking about, to heavily insinuating how good of a person she is because she has these amazing morals and is not going to turn her back on any of the people around her. It's like, why don't you just not turn your back on this is the thing about women. It's like, why don't you just do the action? And then, let your actions speak for yourself. Again, it's not the same thing when you don't turn on people and then you put a camera in your face and you say, I am so awesome because I'm not turning on people. Why don't you just why don't you not take the clout for it? Do you know what I mean? Like, why don't you guys just have the kids and not put them on the internet? Why don't you just have a child? You know,
I will not stop being friends with Candace Owens, who has become like a big sister to me because the internet demands it. I will not attack Matt just because I no longer work with him or because the internet has decided to pile on to him for the 27th millionth time. I also will not pile on to attacks on Ben Shapiro's character because he was nothing but kind and supportive of me during my time at Daily Wire. And that is a fact. I just won't do it. And if you have a problem with any...
Now, again, virtue signal. I would never do that. Just don't do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, influencers, we are just the worst class of people, right? We're the worst class because we can never do a good thing and not record it. We just can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. We're like, ooh, let me grab my phone. Ooh, you know, it's just, we can't.
That's fine. That is your prerogative. It simply means that we have different values. And guess what? It is a free country. That is the beauty of...
My values are awesome. You're suck, assholes. Now, again, this is women coming into a male space and then trying to virtue signal instead of doing their job. You know, they're saying, what's your take on this? And she's like, I won't talk shit about them. You're a commentator. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying throw them under the bus, but at times, you know, you got to disagree. We'll actually go over that too. So I'm going to do an essay video, and it's going to actually eviscerate Matt Walsh. But I wanted to show another example of virtue signaling because Matt Walsh, so recently I did an essay video talking about how the Daily Wire does lie. They're either stupid or they're lying about marriage. Okay. They're like, because the stats do not back up that marriage is better necessarily for men. And they really want it. You know, people, when they have an ego belief in religion, they have a very hard time seeing the forest through the trees. Nothing against religion, but when, you know, men are killing themselves because they got married, part of my French, it rubs me the wrong way when you're a little bit deceptive about what marriage is. So recently he reposted a video attacking me. I don't know why, Matt, I don't know why you couldn't just make a new video. I mean, that's just lazy. But he reposted a video from a few years ago when we were having this discussion. And the laziness really irritated me. It really did.
I've seen plenty of power banks over my 15 years of reviewing.
My bad. I gotta wait.
Successful, of course. It's just not something that's as scalable as we as a society are trying to pretend it is. Marriage is like the lottery. Probably not going to win.
I've spent a lot of time in my career defending the institution of marriage, and I defend it because it's the bedrock of civilization, so it deserves defending, and I defend it because it's under constant attack, so it needs defending. And one of the most troubling developments in recent years, which we've discussed on this show in the past, is that these attacks are increasingly waged not just from the left, but from certain noisy segments of the right as well. Some right-wing influencers with legions of young, mostly male fans have decided that men should abandon marriage. And
so now, again, a lot of right-wing people, they don't know how to exist without lecturing people on how to live. I really, I make my stance very clear. People have the right to their hell. And what you get is a lot of people are very neurotic. Like they're always worrying about what's going to go wrong and they want to control the universe. And so you get a lot of neurotic people going to religion because they want to control the world, and you can't. You cannot. Let me continue.
Family life and go their own way. And these influencers, many of whom consider themselves a part of the so-called red pill movement, pretend to despise feminists and yet have essentially arrived at the...
Here's the thing. We're all feminists. All of us. Me, him, Matt. You constantly put your family in the public eye on the internet when you do the type of content that you do. So I actually am okay in saying this because you put it out there. How did you have multiple twins? How did your wife magically have multiple twins in her 30s? Do you expect me to believe that you're worth $1 bajillion and you guys didn't use IVF? That's feminism. Most people have used feminism in some way. Did you meet your wife at 18? Now you met her at 28. You know.
Same conclusion as feminists, which is that we should give up on the family. The two sides hate marriage almost as much as they hate.
And the way he's going to phrase it is they hate family. Well, I say, screw you. You hate family. You hate family because you want men to be put like pussified at home, to be honest. Because men cannot be in traditional relationships in this society. Well, you claim to be pushing, they can't even have, because women will always have the leverage. And people always act differently when one party has the leverage.
Each other. Now, one of these influencers is a woman named Pearl Davis, who has garnered a relatively large following on YouTube and various social media platforms. She's in her mid-20s, single and childless, and yet full of opinions about modern marriage and family life, a subject that she has no personal insight into whatsoever. She spent the past few days on the internet complaining about quote-unquote Tradcons like myself, who she says promote the nuclear family despite not understanding what it's really like. Yes, we men who actually have wives and children.
Yeah, and so what he's going to do is he's going to use his family. This is what they do. They claim to care so much about their family, right? But if you cared so much about your family, why do you use them to make you look like a good person? Why don't you just be a good person on your own? Why do you have to use your family to win arguments? Why are you bringing your family into debate? Seriously, if you care so much about them, where is the action? And that's what they don't that's what this influencer class of people, they drive me nuts because you know, you say you care so much about your family. Why on earth are you bringing them in to your fight with trans people? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's all Christianity is. Shoving in everyone's face how much of a good person you are. You know, like I'll even hear people, they'll say, you know, I don't even want to know what your religion is. I don't want to know. I should be able to tell based on how you act. I don't even tell me. Okay.
Children don't know what it's like to be married, but a woman who is not married and has no children does know what it's like. In one of her tweets, she wrote,
What percent of your audience is female, Matt? Because what I'm describing more accurately paints a picture, because you have a female audience. You have the female dollar behind you. I don't. Women don't, except for like the two that watch my show. They don't support me. I got demonetized for 2 years. I didn't have a big company backing me up. And because the Daily Wire wants to get paid by women, because they know if they can tap into a female audience, they get more money. Everyone knows it. Everybody in media knows it. You know, they're always going to shelter the reality of marriage because they have to appeal to a young base. And they're liars. They're lying. They're either super ignorant or lying. And I don't know how he could get to the age he is and not know. I got kicked off of everything. I had to stop my show. You know, I didn't have a cushy job at the Daily Wire. By the way, these people kicked a person out because she said Christ is king. I actually don't believe that was why they kicked her out. Candace did a great job manipulating the narrative. I was team DW versus Candace.